2 weeks dark. People still waiting. No flights, no paychecks, just Americans stuck on hold. America held hostage. In theaters now.
Day 38 and counting. That's how long Democrats have kept our government locked down while federal workers can't feed their families. Air traffic controllers are working without paychecks, hundreds of flights canceled daily, travelers stranded coast to coast, and get this, Democrat staffers are actually joking about planes falling from the sky. Meanwhile, the only people still getting paid are the members of Congress who caused this mess. Tonight, I'll show you exactly what Democrats admitted behind closed doors. They're not fighting for you. They're not even pretending anymore. This is about 2026 in raw political power. The suffering is the point, so keep on watching. And just like Democrats are leaving Americans stranded without paychecks, aging can leave you feeling stranded in your own skin. But here is the difference. You can actually do something about it. In a recent clinical trial, women who took just 2.5 grams of collagen peptides daily for 8 weeks saw 25% reduction in eye wrinkle depth and 29% boost in skin hydration. That's real science, not political promises. That's why I trust BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen, 5 premium types of collagen that actually deliver results. While Congress collects their checks and you wait for yours, at least you can invest in looking younger. For a limited time, get 51% off at healthwithgary.com. It's healthwithgary.com. You'll find it linked down below. Now, check this out. I'm going to show you what's really happening behind closed doors in Washington. John Thune exposing that Democrats have been offered everything they asked for, and they're still voting no. Ed Markey is celebrating the shutdown on camera, and waiting to hear what this Delta flight attendant announced at 30,000 feet about the FAA forcing airlines to cancel over 500 flights a day. Here's what's breaking right now.
Right now, our approach is a day by day, the day before we will cancel a flight as long as the government requires us to. Right now, the FAA is asking every airline a 10% reduction in flights to the top 40 markets in the United States. For Delta on a weekday, for all my stat fans, that's roughly 540 flights a day if we have to. It is entirely up to the FAA at this point of when and how many flights they will tell us to cancel, but right now they're shooting for a 10% reduction in operations on a daily basis. That starts effective tomorrow morning. Right now, I can tell you the priority is all international flights. International flights will leave on time and as scheduled. Delta is not messing with those. Those are the priority. The next flights that Delta will focus on not having to cancel are any flights that go through a major Delta hub. So any flight going through Atlanta, New York, Detroit, Minneapolis, Seattle, Salt Lake, LA, those flights are also a priority. Anything else, such as the Delta Connection flight, a flight that does not go through a major hub, all those are fair game to be canceled. Delta will announce a cancellation and let you know the day before, if at all possible. It will offer you rebooking options in the Fly Delta app, or it will offer you a full refund.
Imagine hearing that on your flight. Let's continue, because there's a lot to unpack here. 2 hours ago, President Trump posting, "It's time for Republican senators to stop playing games with the radical left Democrats and terminate the filibuster, immediately open our country, and pass great common sense legislation." Even Democrat voters are fed up with Schumer's political games. Here we have John Anthony, who's actually a friend of mine. Look at John on CNN. Love it. Even Democrat voters are fed up with Schumer's political games. Listen to this.
Eclectic list. I have a very eclectic listening crowd. I'm even having some Democrats who are coming on, and they're seeing through a lot of the minutia of what's really happening, because they can do the math. They notice that there are 55 votes that are voting, and to open the government, and they don't see a lot of Democrats on that side. And so they're saying open up the government and open it up now. Chuck Schumer, not Donald Trump. I have a very eclectic
Chuck
list.
Schumer, not Donald Trump. John Anthony on CNN, host of Detroit's Morning Answer. I have been a guest on his show before. Great guy. Senator John Thune has just said the Senate is likely to stay for the weekend to try to reopen the government if Democrats block the vote again. We've given them everything that they have asked for. Eric Doherty says, just nuke the filibuster. Easy. Democrats are openly admitting that prolonging the government shutdown, which is now in its 38th day, is a calculated political strategy to preserve momentum for the 2026 elections, not a fight for the American people. Thune exposing what Democrats have said on the Senate floor. Here's some of the cliff notes from that. I worry it will be hard to get them back off the mat in time for next fall's election cycle. Caving without concessions would sap momentum and undercut base support, political self-sabotage. Day 38, 800,000 federal workers get zero paycheck. Head Start preschools closed. Veterans programming shuttered. Medicare telehealth inaccessible. National Guard training halted. SNAP benefits in jeopardy. Americans going hungry. DOT mandates air travel cuts starting today. Let's listen to some of his remarks on the Senate floor.
Party support from its... But in case anyone was still under the impression that Democrats were driving this shutdown toward its 40th day out of concern for the American people, well, the junior Democrat from Connecticut pretty handily dispelled that notion. Again, that's what he said. I worry that it'll be hard to sort of get them back off the mat in time for next fall's election cycle, end quote. And just in case anyone needed any additional testimony, Axios reported on Wednesday, and I quote, a set of post-election talking points circulated among Democratic congressional offices warned caving without concessions would sap Democrats' momentum and undercut the party's support from its base. Democrats throwing Republicans a rope in exchange for nothing would be political self-sabotage, it added. Political self-sabotage, Mr. President. Now, there are two very striking things about these quotes. One, of course, is the focus not on the American people, but on how to ensure Democrats win the next election. And two is the fact that progressive Democrats apparently want to keep this shutdown going forever. We're on day 38 of Democrat shutdown. Day 38. Federal workers have gone more than a month now without pay. They don't know how they're going to pay their mortgage or buy food, thanks to Democrats. A lot of them are supposed to get another paycheck today. Instead, they'll see a deposit of exactly $0 in their bank account. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip of the iceberg. Here is Senator Padilla, who must stand up to every one of Trump's unconstitutional power grabs over state election authority. If he wants to declare a national emergency, I will vote to stop it. Well, how about you vote to open up the government instead? Senator Ed Markey says Democrats are united. When John Thune brings the vote out tomorrow to open up the government, we're going to vote no. Yeah. More from Leader Thune. Well, the pain is multiplying for the American people. Senate Democrats are celebrating it. Listen.
Bring in Senate Majority Leader John Thune. So good to have you here. A headline in Axios this morning said that emboldened Dems push to prolong shutdown. And here is Chris Murphy to punch bowl as well. Watch.
I think there will be some pretty substantial damage done to a Democratic brand that has been rehabilitated if on the heels of an election in which the people told us to keep fighting, we immediately stop fighting. If we surrender without having gotten anything, and we cause a lot of folks in this country who had started to believe in the Democratic Party to retreat again, I worry that it will be hard to sort of get them back up off the mat in time for next fall's election cycle.
Well, points for honesty, I guess. But one of the things I'm wondering, Senator, is are we farther away from trying to get this settled today on Friday than we were on Monday?
Dana, the Democrats just have to take yes for an answer. We've given them everything essentially that they were asking for, the reasonable Democrats, not the crazy ones like what you just heard. But they literally yesterday at their Democratic caucus meeting in the Senate had a pep rally. I mean, they are celebrating this. It's insane. And what's happening is the far left, which is the tail wagging the dog, is bullying the reasonable Democrats out of coming to the table. We have a proposal that they have been reviewing and looking at now for several days, mostly with things that they asked for, including a normal appropriations process. We open up the government. They get a vote on their Obamacare fix. They want to sit down, meet with the president on a path forward. He's more than willing to do that. All those things are in play, but they can't take yes for an answer for fear. I mean, these people are scared spitless of their base, and that's what's happening. Yesterday was a bullying session.
A bullying session. Continuing on, here's the president 24 hours ago discussing the shutdown.
On health, the shutdown is caused by the Democrats, and we're not going to spend $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion on health care for people that came into our country illegally, many of them from prisons and many of them drug dealers and murderers, 11,888 murderers. We're not doing that, so we'll see about that. We shouldn't, they should have, as they've done always in the past, it should have just been extended. It could have been extended very easily, and it should have been. The shutdown is caused by the Democrats.
Could have been extended very easily. Here is Vice President Pence.
In the midst of a Democrat.
I said Pence. Oh, my goodness. Vance. My bad.
Yeah, look, Jackie, it's an absurd ruling because you have a federal judge effectively telling us what we have to do in the midst of a Democrat government shutdown, which what we'd like to do is for the Democrats to open up the government. Of course, then we can fund SNAP, and we can also do a lot of other good things for the American people. But in the midst of a shutdown, we can't have a federal court telling the president how he has to triage the situation. We're trying to keep as much turned on. We're trying to keep as much going as possible. The president and the entire administration are working on that, but we're not going to do it under the orders of a federal judge. We're going to do it according to what we think we have to do to comply with the law, of course, but also to actually make the government work for people in the midst of the Democrat government shutdown. If they would like to end this, we would welcome working with them to end this government shutdown, and then we wouldn't have to triage what we're going to fund and what we're not going to fund. And the last thing that I'll say is the American people are unfortunately about to start suffering some very real consequences because of the shutdown. In the past, when you had a government shutdown, you would have under the Obama administration, they would lean into all of the problems it was going to cause for the American people at the beginning of the shutdown. The president has told us to keep as much going as humanly possible. But after 30 days of this thing, 40 days of this thing, you're going to start seeing very real travel delays. That's because the Democrat government shut down. You're going to start seeing SNAP benefits run out. That's because the Democrat government shut down. They should stop this charade and open up the government. That's what we want them to do. We've been asking them to do it for 40 days. It's time.
Yeah, it is time. I mean, I still can't believe that this is a top topic and it's going on this long. Democrat Senator Dick Blumenthal.
I think that there is no reason to surrender now, every reason to stand firm. I think that...
No reason to surrender. What about all those families who are stuck in airports? Right? What about those families who are not going to receive their SNAP benefits? Scott Jennings on the ongoing government shutdown on CNN.
I have to go.
Hey, Scott, how many flights are you taking in the next few days, and are you going to actually get on any of them?
I'm literally sitting here having a complete meltdown. I have to leave. I have to go to San Francisco. Then I have to go to Chicago. Then I have to go to Greensboro. Then I have to go to Louisville. Then I have to go to New York. Please, for the love of God, open the government. I don't mean to make this all about me, but do we really want America's favorite pundit stranded out there in the middle of the country?
Well, I don't think Trump. So. I don't think Trump wants you stranded either. So this might be good for everybody if you are suffering.
Please,
a direct to camera. Donald Trump might help you.
I think the Senate is gonna. I think they're gonna vote on Friday. Maybe we'll get this thing opened up and I'll make all my engagements. The people out there need their Scott Jennings. I'm just
Scott Jennings is about to get stranded. Let's see what else is going on here. Representative Hillary Schlatten, in the course of a minute, says only Republicans can reopen the government by extending the Affordable Tax Care Act. Wow.
Has the ability to. Let's not forget, Republicans control the House the Senate, and the White House to suggest that any other party other than Republicans has the ability to end this shutdown is ludicrous. And they could do it today by doing something that 78% of the American people support, which is extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Do you feel like 1 year of an extension is enough for that? That's what I keep hearing could be one of the things that senators decide on, and then that would land squarely back in the House's lap.
I would support a temporary extension at this point. I think, again, we need to be at the negotiating table to talk about what else we would do within that 1 year timeline, because I don't think 1 year is enough.
They want to just keep adding on all these healthcare for illegals extensions. But no. The Republicans said, hell no, let's just open the government. We'll have a conversation about it. A federal judge ruled that the administration has to fully fund SNAP. DOJ is appealing. Sean Duffy, 13 hours ago, trying to minimize the disruption in the airspace.
In the airspace. And if I have people who want to second guess what we're doing, why we're doing it, I've done all I can to minimize disruption in the airspace. I'm trying to get people where they want to go and get them there safely. If people want to question us, I would throw it back at them, open up the government. You know, that we have to take unprecedented action is because we are in an unprecedented situation with a shutdown. Mm-hmm. And so, by the way, if I don't take this action, Rick might be the first one to come at me and say, why didn't you look at the data and why didn't you take action to keep people safe? He wants to go at me one way or the other, no matter what I do. And so, again, I have a number one job of keeping people safe. I've looked at data. I want to be preemptive, and I want to make sure people are safe in the system. And by the way, this was not a political decision. We did this with the safety team at the FAA. We did it with the administrator of the FAA. As that data came in, we decided to make the decisions that we thought were appropriate. And if
you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. 38 days of a manufactured crisis. That's what this is. John Thune laid it out plain. Republicans offered Democrats everything they asked for. Trump said, open the government, then we'll talk. But Democrats keep voting no. Why? Because destroying Trump matters more than your paycheck, your flight home, or your family's groceries. They're demanding $1.5 trillion for illegal immigrant health care while American citizens can't even get their food stamps. Ted Cruz warning us when he exposed that Democrat staffer joking about planes falling from the sky. It's not incompetence, it's malice. They think that if they inflict enough pain, you'll blame Trump instead of them. So here's what I want to know from you. We'll have a conversation in the comments section. Should Republicans nuke the filibuster and end this hostage crisis right now? Yes or no? Hit the comments. And remember, our merch store stays open even when government doesn't. The link is in the description.